What I want to go through now in the next few moments we have is the uniqueness of anti-Semitism. The very fact that we need a word to describe it should tell us that this is something different. This is not just another form of bigotry or hatred. When somebody says something or does something that is hateful, we say that they're a bigot or they're a racist. Anti-Semitism needs its own word. The fact that it needs its own word should tell us that this is something different, this is something unique. So I want to go through different aspects of the uniqueness of anti-Semitism. It's not just that there's more of it, and there certainly is, right? Hatred towards Jews makes up over 60% of religion-based hate crimes. So there's certainly more anti-Semitism than other forms of hatred. But it's not just that there's more, it's that it's qualitatively different. It's not the same as other kinds of hate. Number one is the longevity. As long as there have been Jews, there has been a hatred towards the Jews. The hatred of the Jews has existed as long as the Jewish people ourselves. As Edward Flannery says, as a historian of anti-Semitism looks back over the millennia of horrors he has recorded, an inescapable conclusion emerges. Anti-Semitism is different because of its longevity and consistency. Number two is how universal it is. So I see someone chuckling, I'm assuming that you know the song. Tom Lehrer wrote a song for National Brotherhood Week. And in his last verse, he sings, "Oh, the Protestants hate the Catholics, and the Catholics hate the Protestants, and the Hindus hate the Muslims, and everybody hates the Jews." No matter where we have gone, no matter where we settle, no matter whom our host country is, anti-Semitism eventually appears. The universality of anti-Semitism makes it unique and different from all forms of hatred. Mark Twain writes, "In all countries from the dawn of history, the Jew has been persistently and implacably hated and with frequency persecuted." We don't need Mark Twain to tell us that. Just look at world history. We have here, on this slide, a list of the places where Jews have been expelled from. Just take a look. It's hard to see because the text has to be so small because I can't fit it on a slide any bigger. Between the years 250 and 1948, 1,700 years, the Jews in Europe experienced an average of one expulsion every 21 years. From England in 1290, France several times, half this list is France. In 554 and 181 and 1253 and 1306 and 1394, Hungary in 1349 and 1360, Austria in 1420, various places in Germany throughout the 14th, 15th, 16th century, Spain famously in 1492. We all know about the expulsion of the Jews from Spain. Unbelievable. The universality of anti-Semitism makes it unique. No matter where we've been persecuted. And the remarkable thing to me, like when you look at France, we've been expelled from France 5 times. And then they went back. 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 And you think, like, what were they thinking? And it's very easy for us as Americans looking at world history and saying, what were they, in Nazi Germany, didn't they see the signs? Why did they get out? Why did they leave? I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't know before Kristallnacht that the signs and the things that you saw in Nazi Germany were any different than the things that we're seeing in the streets of America today. No matter where we've been, this has been an issue. Number 3 is the intensity. Most people who are hated become the butt of ethnic jokes, they're made fun of, maybe subject to discrimination. The Jews, on the other hand, have been the subject of attempted genocide time and time and time again. We're in the month of Adar. We're about to bring in the second Adar. We're getting to the holiday of Purim, where we had an anti-Semite who wanted to destroy the Jewish people. Not much has changed since then. The intensity, it's not just hatred. It's not just making fun of us. It's not just discriminatory practices. It's attempts at genocide. In fact, the term genocide, as we see here in this slide, did not exist prior to 1944. The term was coined specifically to describe the Holocaust because it was something so inhumane, something so vile, that we just didn't have a word in the English language to describe it. The intensity of the hatred towards the Jews makes that kind of hatred unique. Mark Twain wrote a famous article that's been shared by many people called Concerning the Jews. And if you haven't read the whole thing, you really should. Most people know the last part, which talks about how, despite all the people who've tried to destroy us, we've survived them all. The Jew beat them all, saw them all, is what he always was, with no infirmities of age, no weakening of his parts, until his Lord mind. All things are immortal, but yada, yada, yada. Well, what's fascinating is reading the whole article. The article was actually a response to a question that was written. So Mark Twain wrote an article called Stirring Times in Austria, talking about what was going on in Austria. And a Jewish lawyer here, I think in New York, wrote into him and said, what's going on? I read your article, and what I noticed you writing and reporting is that you had a group of people who couldn't agree on anything. The one thing they were able to agree on is that they hated the Jews. Right? He says, all classes of people were unanimous only on one thing, in being against the Jews. They couldn't even agree what they hated about the Jews. But they all agreed they hated the Jews. As Tom Lehrer taught us, right, that is something that we can all agree on. But what's remarkable is that no one, no matter how much they've hated us, has yet to offer a single, universally accepted reason why they hate us. It's completely irrational. Jews have been hated because we're too liberal and because we're too conservative. We're lazy and inferior, and yet we're dominating the economy and taking over the world. We stubbornly maintain our separateness, and we also are posing a threat to racial purity by assimilating. We're pacifists, we're warmongers, we're capitalist exploiters and revolutionary communists. We're too cheap, we're too spendthrift. We're possessed of a chosen people mentality. We'll talk about that next week. And yet we also have an inferiority complex. We're too passive and too pushy, too charitable, too selfish, too religious, too secular. We have too many space lasers, not enough space lasers. And there's no shortage of conspiracies. The hatred of the Jews is unique. The question is why?